to ordination. So we are so blessed to have with us this morning Lynn Woodland.
Well, thank you. I always love being here again. And well, today I wanted, actually this morning will be a little bit of a continuation of the psychic fair. How many of you were there this weekend? Many of you? Oh, good. And I thought since this week is Halloween and the Day of the Dead, I wanted to give some observance to the spiritual side of Halloween. You know, it's become the time to dress up and get candy, but originally, Halloween and the Day of the Dead happened this time of year because we're going into that season of greater darkness, and it's said that this is the time of year when the veil between this world and the next is the thinnest. And consequently, it's a good time to honor those who've passed on, to assist in their spiritual journey with our prayers, and also to connect with those who've passed on before us, to remember, to honor, to love, to connect. And that's what we're going to do today. We actually are going to invite a visit with a loved one who's no longer living. And I want to just share an observation made by one of my colleagues, Reverend Deb Terramani, a woman I've known for many years. She's a professional psychic, and she's seen angels since she was, that big. She sees disembodied spirits quite frequently. They come to talk to her. And what she has said about the veil, that illusion that there's a difference between the physical world and the spiritual realm. She's noticed that the veil just seems thinner. And she relates it to the fact that we are evolving. Humanity is evolving. And this is very much in keeping with my own senses of what's happening in the world today, that we really are changing. And consequently, with this thinning veil, because we are in such a rapid state of ascension, we're changing really fast. All you have to do is turn on the news, and every day it's a whole different kind of circus going on. Well, that's part of spiritual ascension. But what she has noticed is that those people we've loved in the past, our spiritual helpers, our guides, they really want to be with us and assist us. They want to help us more than ever because there's so much going on. So that thinning veil is easier than ever to breach. So we're going to do a guided process where you will have a chance to connect with someone on the other side who might really want to reach out to assist you in your growth and evolution now. Not just as a remembrance of what was, but to help you in the here and now. And I won't even talk about the next part yet. We'll just go there. One thing I do want to mention before we go into this exercise, and this is a concern I've heard once or twice. I know a woman in one of my groups was concerned that we were yanking people out of their, or our dead loved ones out of where they are to just bring them into our world, and we were just impeding upon their process. And imagine it differently. It's not so much that we are just yanking them into our world. We are instead really opening our awareness so that we disappear that illusionary boundary, so that we are more a part of the one mind, the one reality, where we're all connected, we're all together all the time. Because that, in the spiritual realm, that's the truth. So we're not, invading anyone's personal space who's passed on. This is about just opening to the place where we're all one. And this can be a great way to draw strength and love from ancestors, from loved ones who've passed on, even to meet ancestors who died before we were born. And it can be a way to heal anything that wasn't resolved at the time of death. And recognize that in the spiritual realm, what's left is the part of us that is our highest and best. So as we open to the highest in us, we also open to the highest in those other souls. And we connect at that level where really we only exist in each other's lives in service. In fact, sometimes even the most challenging relationships have been the greatest of service to us. Those have been the people who, on some level, we spiritually chose certain roles to play in each other's lives to help us develop strength and compassion and insight and to choose certain life paths. So, this isn't about going into any dark place. This is really about going into, the realm where the highest in each of us has always been together, is still together, and always will be together. So with that said, just get comfortable in your seat for a moment now and close your eyes. And begin with just a couple of deep, full breaths. And just inhale deeply. And exhale just as deeply. Just give yourself a moment to quiet your mind and relax your body. And just gently let your awareness expand to include your higher self. And imagine that as a beautiful, radiant being of light that is your true self. This is the real part of you. The part of you that's always whole, that's always perfect. And the part of you that is undisturbed by the ripples of human experience. The part of you that is a divine spark of God, or spirit, however you like to name universal energy. And as you open to this true being that is you, now allow to come to mind an important person in your life, one who's no longer living in the physical body. And this could be someone whom you deeply miss. It could be someone who died with something unresolved between you. Or it could even be a distant ancestor whom you would like to meet. And as you just relax your mind and open your imagination, just see who pops into your awareness. Because it may be just whom you expected, but it could be another soul. Maybe someone you weren't thinking about, but one who wants to reach out to you and is making his or her presence known. So just see who's there. And there may well be more than one, and in this case, ask just one to step forward for now. You're not going to close the door on anyone who might have help for you, but just invite one to step forward. And just as you bring only your highest, wisest self to this meeting, so are you now experiencing the higher self of this other being. And you may well recognize personality traits and the way their physical body appeared. Yet, in truth, all the illusions of the physical realm have fallen away. So any struggle or pain or misunderstandings that may have characterized your human relationship, these things are all absent. And only love ties you together now, and a deep desire to serve one another's highest good, because as souls, that really is our only true calling. When all the trappings of physicality fall away, that's really all that's left. So take a moment to greet this other soul. You know, both the familiar person you knew as well as the totality of the soul, the spiritual being that you may not have been aware of in the context of your human relationship. And if there's anything you need to say to this other, just imagine speaking your mind, your heart, speaking your message as though this person is truly right there with you, hearing every word. Because, in fact, we are all that connected as consciousness in the one mind. Share anything that might have been left unsaid at the time of death. Know that it's never too late to extend forgiveness and love. And also allow this being to speak to you, because he or she may have a response to your words, or they might want to share with you why they've come today. There may be a gift, a message they have for you, maybe some kind of healing they can offer, or assistance with something important in your life. So just be open and see what's offered. You can even let your imagination create a dialogue between you. And it's okay if you feel like you're just making it up, because imagination is often the doorway into intuition. Even psychic impressions often start with imagination and the feeling that you're just making it up. And whether or not this was a challenging relationship, whether it was a supportive one, or both, imagine that there are important lessons the two of you shared, spiritual purposes that may be beyond anything you ever really dreamed or thought about when you were in the midst of it. Imagine there is some higher purpose, some divine design in the connection you had and may still have. So look at the relationship that was from the wisdom of your spiritual self. What did you most appreciate about this person? And what was this person's greatest gift to you? Because from this expanded perspective, you can see that even challenging experiences offered blessings, maybe in disguise. Maybe they helped to deepen and develop strengths. Maybe they added facets and brilliance to your soul, even in ways that your personality may not have understood at the time. So really open and take in how you were enriched by this soul. And give thanks. Just offer gratitude for whatever role this being played in your life. And see if there is something that this being still has for you. Some help from the other side. Because where there is love, there is always connection. That never dies. So see if there is a way that this soul may want to support you and help you and further your highest good. And when your visit feels complete, again, just with gratitude, just let this person go. You might even ask her or him to give you a sign or a signal that their presence is with you, so that whenever you encounter this in your day, you'll know that this soul is saying hello, wanting you to know that they're there. You don't have to do that, but if you'd like a sign, just ask for one. See what they say. And then just take a deep breath, maybe a couple of deep breaths, and come back. So, whether or not you felt like you got a message, what we're going to do now, we have a couple different parts we're going to do next. One is I'm going to invite synchronicity into our process here, because synchronicity has a great way of giving vocabulary to the spirit realm. And what I have here, a lot of little messages. These are all from one of my oracles that I've found to be a really helpful tool. There's about 140 different messages. So we're giving spirit a lot of vocabulary. And I'm going to pass these around and invite you to just pick one randomly without looking, imagining that the person you had in mind is answering the question, how can they best serve you now? How would they like to support an area of your life? And imagine that there's going to be some perfect order in the message you picked. That whatever is on this message is an area of life that can benefit with some attention, and this particular loved one may have an important role to play from the other side. So I'll start this basket over session today. Only you all are going to be the psychics. And as time permits, we'll make opportunity for anyone who would like to receive more specific messages from your loved one to stand up and get some messages. And as I said, we're all going to be the psychics here. Because, even if you think you don't have an intuitive bone in your body, you might be really surprised. I've done these kind of exercises with people many, many, many times in the past, and people are often amazed at what just comes through them when they just relax and open their mind and see what's there. No performance pressure here. If nothing comes, you don't say anything. We're not going to go around the room, make everybody on the spot. This will be very easy, very flowing, and as I said, you might be very surprised. Now I've done this kind of group intuitive work a lot, and what I always say about any kind of intuitive feedback that you give or you get is that it needs to be done in the spirit of lightness. And what I mean by that is that you can't get too stressed and focused on saying the perfect thing, or you shut it down, you shut your intuition down. So you have to be a little bit light and playful about it even, and just say whatever comes to mind, knowing that, you might be wrong, it's all right, and recognizing too that as you receive this kind of input, that you might get some amazing, just perfect channeled nuggets of gold from other people. That's why we do this kind of stuff, because it really is a great opportunity. And you might not, even the most highly paid professional psychics are wrong sometime. So whether you're at the psychic fair consulting someone for money, or here receiving from peers, it's always important to take in and filter through your own sense of what feels right. Because if something is right for you, you'll know it. Either it'll have a real zing to you, it'll touch your heart, especially in this kind of work where we're connecting with love, essentially, souls who love us. It'll touch your heart, or you'll just start hearing it over and over again. And if you just get nothing, it's like, maybe not for me. Just see if you start hearing the same message again and again in the next week or two. Sometimes that happens. But again, even if you've never done anything like this, you just never know. I remember doing an exercise like this in a workshop, and I had people broken into small groups. And this was a group of people, they weren't even all sure they believed in consciousness continuing after death. This was like a real newbie group. Back in the days when I would make groups do anything without much warm-up. And this one woman was the channel, one of the channels in her group, and it was for a man who was just so obviously in deep grief over a beloved who had died just a year earlier. You could tell he was so grieved, and all she was getting, she wanted to be appropriately somber and respectful, and she was stifling what she was getting, because all she could get was these really goofy images of a woman putting on different funny hats, and it just seemed so disrespectful to say that out loud. And finally she did. She said it out loud, and the guy just burst out sobbing. He sobbed for, it must have been a full 5 minutes. The whole room was just, their hearts were just with him. And finally, when he could compose himself again, he said, well, he didn't know if he even believed in all this stuff, but funny hats were her signature fashion statement. Everybody knew her for her funny hats. And when he heard that helped him open up to other things that came, that let him know that she was great, she was fine, and she was with him, she still loved him, all is well. I think one of my own personal most powerful experiences doing this was when I got an impression for a woman who had lost her daughter, and she didn't give any details other than her daughter died while still a child. I didn't know what age. And gosh, it's almost overwhelming to even remember it. All I got was this overwhelming experience of love. I could barely speak. I brought tears to my eyes. It was so huge, and it was completely nonverbal. There were no words, and it was this very interesting experience where this being that was neither male nor female, didn't get any gender, just let me know that that it never planned to come in for a whole human life. It was not its gig, not its purpose or mission. It made the sacrifice of coming in, very, very briefly, apparently, just in order to let this woman know of its presence and how much it loved her. And what I found afterward, when she shared more detail, was that this was a daughter she lost just days after birth. So the being was very pre-verbal, and it was just this very brief entry and exit, just to say, I'm here, be aware of me. And when she heard that, it really helped her let go of a lot of the pain she was experiencing around this loss. And she was then able to open to just the incredible love that this very highly evolved, I felt, being had for her. So that's where we're going here. And you just don't know what might come through you or to you. But I do want to just see, is there anybody who has someone in mind that you'd like to receive more information from? Yeah, stand up in the back. I saw your hand first.